Imagine this. You wake up one morning to find that a country has vanished from the world map. Not Germany, not Japan, not Brazil. This time, the one that's gone is the silent giant of the north, Norway. If the world were to suddenly lose this small but impactful nation, what would change? What innovations would never be developed again? What traditions would vanish forever? And what values would be buried in history? Before answering these questions, we must first understand Norway's place in the world, its history, and its influence throughout history. Norway has been known for its battle against nature. Nestled along the rugged western coast of the Scandinavian peninsula, where harsh fjords and mountains dominate the landscape, survival itself has long been an achievement. From the Viking Age to the modern day, Norwegian culture has been shaped by values like perseverance, respect for nature, and solidarity. The Vikings, those seafaring warriors who struck fear across northern Europe between the 8th and 11th centuries, left a legacy not only of conquest but also of exploration, trade, and cultural exchange. Norway is one of the lands where this warrior nation was born. Had Norway never existed, the Viking influence on Western Europe might have been significantly diminished. The early discoveries of England, Iceland, and even North America could have unfolded in a drastically different way. Norway is a treasure not only for its history but also for its nature. If it were erased from Earth, humanity would lose not just a country, but also the Lofoten Islands, where the northern lights dance across the sky, the breathtaking Geiranger Fjord, the iconic Preikestolen Cliff, and the polar bears of Svalbard. Thanks to its proximity to the Arctic, a significant portion of climate change research is conducted in Norway's northern regions. Its absence would severely disrupt this global scientific effort. That's because many key bases for Arctic observations, sea ice studies, and climate modeling are located there in the field of energy. Norway is among the world's most advanced nations. Its vast reserves of oil and natural gas not only meet its domestic needs but also supply a significant portion of Europe's energy. If Norway were to vanish suddenly, the energy balance across Europe would be thrown into chaos. Electricity prices would spike, energy dependence would increase, and many countries would be forced to seek alternative sources. Moreover, Norway is also a pioneer in renewable energy. About 95% of its water resources are used for hydroelectric power. Without Norway, the world might not have come as far in sustainable energy. This country has proven that green energy doesn't have to be just an ideal, it can be a reality. A country gains its true meaning not just through its geography, but also through its ideas and its people. If Norway had never existed, Edvard Munch's iconic painting The Scream would not have come into being. Perhaps Expressionism would never have been etched into the history of art so vividly. The Nobel-winning novels of Knut Hamsun, the groundbreaking plays of Henrik Ibsen, are all examples of Norway's intellectual contributions. These deep insights into human psychology and social critique have helped shape the evolution of world literature. Without Norway, modern theater might have developed much later, and the inner conflicts of the individual might not have found such an early, powerful voice on stage. With the loss of Norway, the world would also lose one of the most successful examples of the Scandinavian welfare model. Its balanced system of healthcare, education, social security, and societal equality has served as a model for many nations. Norway's fair income distribution, high quality of life, and strong public services represent goals that humanity should aspire to. If Norway had never existed, research on happy societies would have remained incomplete. A regular at the top of global happiness rankings, this country has offered not only to its own people but to all of humanity an example of what it means to live well. Although Norway may not make as much noise as larger nations in terms of scientific output, it stands out through its deep expertise in specific fields. In areas such as polar research, marine biology, climate modeling, and renewable energy technologies, Norwegian scientists have made significant global contributions. The Norwegian Polar Institute in Troms is a hub for pioneering research into Arctic ecosystems and the impacts of climate change. If Norway were to suddenly disappear, it would leave a major gap in the international research network dedicated to studying the Arctic region. This would not only result in a loss of critical scientific data, but could also lead to the collapse of environmental strategies aimed at shaping the future of the North Pole. Norway is a nation that has owed its survival to the sea for centuries. Fishing has long been both a historical livelihood and a core element of its cultural identity. Today, Norway remains one of the world's largest exporters of salmon, and it is among the leading countries in applying the principles of sustainability in the seafood industry. Without Norway, the global production of Atlantic salmon would drop dramatically. This would directly impact not only Europe but also the consumer markets in Asia and the Americas. Furthermore, many of the policies that serve as global examples of sustainable fishing practices would be erased from history. Norwegian is more than just a spoken language, it represents a way of thinking, a unique worldview. The disappearance of Norway would mean the loss not only of a language, but also of the folk tales, proverbs, literary traditions, and regional dialects intertwined with it. For instance, the Sami people, an indigenous ethnic group living in northern Norway, have one of the world's most rare and distinctive cultural heritages. Their language, songs, clothing, and way of life would also face extinction. Without Norway, humanity humanity would lose a vital piece in the mosaic of a multilingual, multicultural, and inclusive world. Norway is also a powerhouse in winter sports. A glance at Winter Olympic history shows that Norway almost always ranks in the top 3 for medal counts. It has produced countless legendary athletes in disciplines such as ski jumping, biathlon, and cross-country skiing langrenn. If Norway were to suddenly vanish, a key competitor that helps shape the nature and intensity of these sports would disappear as well. Motivation in many disciplines might decline, athlete development could slow, and even the spirit of the Olympics might be diminished. That's because Norway's sports philosophy is not solely based on winning but on harmony with nature, individual resilience, and team spirit. Without Norway, the world would lose one of its key guides in the global energy transition. Its rapid shift to electric vehicles, in particular, has served as a model for the rest of the world. Today, over 80% of all cars sold in Norway are electric, a target that many other countries still struggle to reach. Norway's tax exemptions, dedicated lanes for electric vehicles, and investments in charging infrastructure have demonstrated the success of green transportation policies. Had Norway not provided these examples, the world likely wouldn't have gained such early momentum in breaking free from oil dependency. This country is not only a leader in energy production but also a pioneer in energy consumption transformation. Norway's quiet, unassuming, yet profound impact is one of the key forces shaping our present world. Sometimes, a small nation can speak with a giant voice. The disappearance of Norway would leave a silence not only in the north but in the heart of the world. There would be a gap in natural sciences, a whisper in the arts, a slowdown in technological progress, and a void in the spirit of societies. Norway is not just about its fjords. It is a civilization woven with history, knowledge, nature, and human dignity. If this civilization had never existed, the world would have lost not just a country but the moral compass of the North. One of Norway's greatest gifts to the world is undoubtedly its peace-oriented foreign policy. Despite being a NATO member, Norway has never wielded its military power in an aggressive or expansionist manner. On the contrary, it is widely recognized as a nation that mediates conflicts and promotes peace. The Oslo Accords signed between Israel and Palestine in 1993 are perhaps the clearest example of this. If Norway ceased to exist, global diplomacy would lose a model of neutrality, a symbol of trust for many countries. Norway's diplomatic weight does not stem from its wealth or military strength, but from its fair and peaceful stance. This quiet yet effective diplomatic approach serves as an ethical benchmark in international relations. Norway offers not only to its own people but to the entire world a model of how to live. The Norwegian model is synonymous with a strong welfare state, low corruption, high transparency, a free press, equal access to education, and the use of natural resources for public good. Consider this: while oil has become a source of inequality and elite power in many countries, Norway has channeled its oil wealth into a massive sovereign wealth fund, saving for future generations. The Norwegian government pension fund, now worth nearly $1.5 trillion, is the world's largest state-owned investment fund. Without this model, the idea of fair distribution of natural wealth may never have gained such traction. Many nations have reformed their social policies by taking inspiration from Norway. Norway's fight against the climate crisis is not only scientific, it is also profoundly moral. Its efforts to reduce its carbon footprint, protect rainforests in tropical regions, and provide climate finance to developing countries reflect a deep commitment to climate justice. Without Norway, the world would lose one of the few nations championing the idea of a just transition in the climate struggle. There would be one less state to speak up, take action, offer funding, and accept responsibility in the fight against climate change in the face of such a global threat. The absence of conscious actors like Norway would weaken humanity's defenses. Norway may not possess a massive population or military power, but its value lies in how deeply it respects people and nature, earning it a unique place in human history. It is quiet, but it sets an example, small but powerful, modest but dignified. Norway's disappearance might not immediately shift the course of the world, but over time, its absence would be deeply felt because some countries make an impact not by raising their voice, but by quietly doing what's right, and Norway is exactly that kind of country. In conclusion, if Norway were to vanish, a history stretching from Vikings to modern peace mediation would be lost. The Northern Lights would remain only a dream. A vital center for climate change research and data would disappear. The sustainable energy revolution would slow down. Edvard Munch's The Scream would never have touched canvas. The concept of the modern welfare state would lack its strongest real-world example, and perhaps most importantly, the world would lose a country that offers quiet hope to humanity. Some countries arrive with great noise, others leave a mark in silence. Norway belongs to the second group, and its absence would remind us all of just how precious silence can be.